Last month, Ryan walked up to a checkout counter. He was buying something he'd wanted for a while. He had more than enough cash to pay in full, but he didn't. He split the cost into 3 payments at 0%. And on the way, he tossed a few extra things in the cart. Small stuff, things that just caught his eye. Now here's the strange part. The heart of what Ryan did was actually smart. His money stayed in savings, earning real interest. The store still got paid in full immediately. Everybody seemed to win. Ryan kept his cash working. The store made the sale. The app handed over the money on the spot. So let me ask the question that should be bothering you. Ryan pays 0 interest. The store gets paid in full. The app fronts the cash for free. So who is actually paying for all of this? Because somebody is. Nobody builds a billion-dollar empire lending money for free. This isn't a story about free money. It's a story about who quietly pays for your convenience. And whether that makes buy now, pay later a gift, or a beautifully disguised trap. Today, I'll show you exactly how these companies make money, using real numbers from the people who run them. Then I'll give you a few simple rules. Rules that let you use this system without ever becoming the person who pays for it. By the end, you'll know which kind of user you are. The one who profits or the one who bleeds. Welcome back to Unpacked Wealth. I'm Leo, your guide to US personal finance, simplified. And let me be honest with you, I've used these apps myself, so this isn't a lecture from someone above it all. Let me start with the sentence that unlocks everything. 0% is never actually 0%. When you split a purchase into 4 easy payments, the app doesn't wait around to collect slowly. It pays the store the full amount almost immediately. Then it collects from you over the following weeks. The store gets its cash today, the app takes on the waiting and the risk, and nobody does that for free. So who pays? The store does. Which brings us to the first hidden mechanism. The merchant is the one paying the fee. Every time you tap pay later, the store gives up a slice. For low-risk customers, that fee is about 2%, roughly the same as a credit card. But for riskier customers, it climbs fast, all the way to 10% or more. Industry-wide, the fee usually lands between 3 and 6%. Now multiply that across millions of transactions. The scale becomes staggering. Klarna pulled in nearly $4 billion last year. Afterpay is catching up at around $1 billion. They didn't build that on charity for shoppers. They built it on fees the stores agree to pay. Because stores make more when you use it. And this next part, most people refuse to believe. The store secretly chooses how risky you're allowed to be. When a business signs up, the app hands them a dial. Turn it one way, the store runs tight. Fees stay low, but fewer people get approved. Turn it the other way, the store runs loose. Fees climb toward 15%, but far more people get approved for bigger amounts. Read that again. The store, not you, decides how easily you get approved and how deep you're allowed to go. One owner told me he set the dial in the middle. He capped his fees at just under 10%. He could have loosened it to approve bigger purchases. He chose not to. And his reason reveals how this game really works. He'd rather have a customer who spends a little, often, than one who spends big once and never returns, because that customer is drowning in payments. Even the store knows the loose setting chews people up. Here's the real product. BNPL exists to make you spend more. When that owner set the dial to the middle, the app promised him something specific. Customers would spend about 35% more per order. He checked his own data. The real number was 33, almost exactly as predicted. Think about what that means. Spend $100 with a card, and you spend $133 with pay later. For his store, the average order jumped from $600 to $800. That is not an accident. That is the entire point. Splitting the price makes your brain see the small number and quietly ignore the total. $200 feels heavy. 4 payments of $50 feels like nothing. So you add the extra item, you upgrade to the nicer version, you fill the cart a little fuller than you would have. The convenience isn't the gift. The convenience is the mechanism. Now here's where it gets personal. Because not everyone who uses BNPL loses. There are 2 kinds of users. Only one wins. The first is the disciplined user. Think back to Ryan. For the main purchase, he already had the money He uses pay later just to keep his cash earning. A few extra months, while the loan sits at zero. He might spend a little more, maybe 10%, but he never spends money he doesn't have. For him, this is a genuine free loan. He comes out ahead. The only crack was those few extra items, the ones he grabbed because the payments felt small, and that tiny crack is where the second user begins. The second kind is the stretched user. They use pay later to buy what they can't afford. Their orders balloon by 40 to 50%. They aren't keeping cash invested. They're borrowing against income that hasn't arrived yet, and the late fees are quietly designed around them. Same app, same button, two opposite outcomes. One is running a smart arbitrage, the other is on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. Late fees and interest are the second engine. For those who pay on time, the app earns on merchant fees, but a real slice of revenue comes from something else. Missed payments, late fees, interest that kicks in. And there's a quieter danger, stacking. Because each plan feels small, it's easy to end up with 4 or 5 at once. A payment here on the 15th, another on the 22nd, a third next week. Suddenly your paycheck is spoken for before it lands. And you never made a choice that felt like debt. The system is pleasant for the person who pays on time, and quietly expensive for the person who doesn't. That's not a bug. That's a second revenue stream next to the first. Here's the part that should make you pause. Your spending is a warning light for the whole economy. That same owner noticed something in his data. As the economy gets shakier, his average fee drifts up, away from 2% toward 10. Why? Because in hard times, the people using BNPL are riskier, more stretched, more likely financing needs, not wants. When pay later spreads to groceries and takeout. It isn't clever money management spreading. It's a sign people run out of money before the month ends. Your relationship with BNPL is a bellwether, and nationally, the direction is not comfortable. So let's answer the question this whole video was built on. Is buy now, pay later predatory? Here's the honest answer. Neither side will love it. The tool itself is neutral. For the disciplined user with cash, it's close to a free loan. And defenders make a fair point. It can be cheaper than a credit card. It's transparent about the payment schedule. And it offers flexibility old lenders never did. All true for the person who could afford it anyway. But the design is not neutral. Every feature is engineered to make you spend more. The split payments, the instant approval, the dial. For someone already stretched, that isn't freedom. It's a slow, comfortable slide into debt. Debt that never feels like debt until it's too late. So the tool isn't predatory, but it profits most from those who can least afford it. Which means the whole game comes down to one thing. Always be the first kind of user, never the second. And that's simpler than the marketing wants you to believe. So let me give you the rules. Simple, boring, and effective. The kind that protect your wallet without willpower. Rule 1. Look at the total, never the payment. BNPL's best trick is 4 payments of 50. So do the reverse. Before you tap, say the full price out loud, not the installment, the total. If 200 makes you flinch, that flinch is honest. Listen to it. Rule 2. The pay it twice test. Here's a rule wealthy people use without thinking. If you can't afford to buy it twice in cash, you can't really afford it once. BNPL is smart only when the money's already there. If it isn't, you're not financing a purchase. You're financing a lifestyle you haven't earned yet. Rule 3. Only ever run one plan at a time. The danger isn't a single purchase. It's the 5th one you forgot you signed up for. Make it a hard rule. One active plan ever. Don't start a new one until the last is paid off. That single limit kills stacking before it starts. Rule 4. Add a 24-hour delay. Almost every impulse buy dies if you just wait. Put it in the cart and close the app. Give it one full day. If you still want it tomorrow, fine. Most of the time, the urge is gone by morning. And you just kept $200 effortlessly. Rule 5. Turn the friction back on. BNPL wins by being frictionless. Save cards, one tap, instant approval. So put the friction back yourself. Remove your saved payment details. Log out of the shopping apps or delete them. Unsubscribe from the emails that manufacture urgency. You're not trying to beat temptation. You're arranging your life so you rarely meet it. Rule 6. Pay yourself before anyone else. This is the quiet foundation under all of it. The day your paycheck lands, move money to savings first, automatically before you spend a cent. When the money's already gone, your spending shrinks to fit. People who never overspend aren't more disciplined than you. They just never let the money sit around looking spendable. Rule 7. Know your number. Once a month, add up every active plan in charge. Most people have never seen that total on one screen. The number itself changes behavior. It's hard to add a plan when you see what's committed. None of these rules ask you to earn more. They just make the invisible visible and slow you down when the system speeds you up. Now let me leave you with the number that matters. That 33%, the extra you spend because the price was sliced up, on an $800 order, that's about $200, money you would not have spent otherwise. Do that a few times a year, and it's $1,000 of quiet lifestyle inflation. Invisible, because it never hit you all at once. Now take that same 1,000 a year and invest it at around 8%. In 30 years, that quiet 1,000 becomes over 120,000. That's the real price of the convenience. Not the interest, which really might be zero. The extra spending, which almost never is. So go back to Ryan at the counter, money in the bank, choosing to pay later. If that's you, one plan, paid on time, spending on purpose, then enjoy your free loan. You've quietly turned their machine to your advantage. But if the card is full just because the payments felt small, you already know who's getting rich from your 0% deal. This isn't financial advice. The stories and characters here are illustrations, not real people. It's just a reminder. The most expensive things you buy are often the ones that never felt expensive at all. Real wealth doesn't need 4 easy payments. It just needs you to feel the full price before you say yes.